I know firsthand that obedience isn't always glamorous. It cost me comfort, control, and certainty because I went through a lot of trials from being obedient. The warfare was real from being obedient, but it also gave me clarity, it gave me purpose, and a front row seat to God's faithfulness. I realized then and there that God was asking me for complete submission and complete sacrifice. And I said yes. Remember, obedience is the new success, and your story is proof. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Called and Courageous. Super excited that you guys are here today, and I'm extra excited to introduce our next guest of the week to everyone. She is a preemie, I think she's a micro-preemie survivor born at 24 weeks. She's an emotional trauma coach, and all she wants to do is to help people find their freedom. Find their freedom. Please welcome Bethany Bacon. Hi, Bethany.
Hi, nice to be here.
Nice to meet you. I'm so excited for you to be here. So, can you share with everyone first, like, the reason why your voice sounds the way it does, so people are not surprised or anything?
Yes, being born at 24 weeks, I was on a ventilator for 8 weeks after that. And so that's caused vocal cord paralysis. And so that's the reason for my voice quality.
Wow. Okay. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes,
Tell us how being born as a micro preemie, how has that impacted your life? Walk us through like what your life looked like from childhood.
yes. As you know, children, they don't necessarily understand everything that adults do. And so there were a lot of times that um, I got picked on, um, you know, recesses and that were by myself a lot, which, I grew into that being okay, but just wanting to be included. Like, I think everybody has that desire to be included. And so over the years, the Lord has just empowered me to understand that just because I was born at 24 weeks, that doesn't mean I'm any less valuable, that I have any less genuine value to society. And through that, the Lord has just given me a deep burden for people to understand that they too have genuine value despite what negativity they have or even are facing, that God does have them here for a purpose.
Amen. Can you talk us through like what was your first encounter with the Lord? How did you start leaning on him? Can you share with us that journey?
One of my earliest encounters when I, started understanding things about God and that, my mom suffered 14 miscarriages, not abortion attempts, but actual miscarriages. And I knew that that wasn't God
Hmm.
who, made a mistake. And understanding that God gives life, He
Amen.
is life.
Amen.
And so to understand that, to appreciate that, is huge. And if I may share, it is the thief, Satan, who I believe stole those my siblings, because why would God allow them to be conceived just to take him back. I don't. And maybe that's just my view. I'm not sure. But that experience as well is what caused me to really understand that we do have an enemy. And being that he hates God, he hates us too. And he wants to keep people away from God. So my earliest recollection of who God truly is was at that time of understanding, okay, God is the giver of life. He chooses when each one of us are born. And so he longs to continually be there for us. So
Amen. Thank you for sharing that, Bethany. I can't imagine how it feels to go through 14 miscarriages and still lean on God and still trust in God. Did you ever have a time when, in your earlier years walking with God or with Christ, did you ever have a time where you felt resentful towards the Lord, or were you always 100% for him during, your upbringing?
he has shown me so much that I honestly can say I've always been for him. I've never had any time where it's like, God, why did you do this? I I honestly have never had any times like those. So I've been um, always,
For him.
yeah.
No, no question. Wow. 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 I mean, it's, after you were born, did you have to forego other surgeries or anything like that? Or were you fine after that, after you were fully, like, I don't know what the right word is, when you are out of the hospital after you're let go? Were you good, or did you still have to go through multiple surgeries after that?
Well, when I was 6 weeks old, it was discovered that I had hydrocephalus. And so
Mm.
I had to um, have my first shunt placed at that time. And I went from the age of 3 all the way to the age of 35 without any shunt hydrocephalus issues at all. And so during that time, I really felt that, I didn't have hydrocephalus anymore, that I was somehow cured of it. But then in 2016, I started having unusual headaches,
Mm.
and that caused me to have my second ever shunt placement. But from December 2016 to present, um, I've had 18 more shunt surgeries, and the most recent one was just a few months ago, August 29th. And so I'm, and I did have other surgeries as well, but um, the Lord has greatly blessed in that I was able to go through my childhood without hydrocephalus issues. Um, and I know that there's children who have to go through various issues, and even adults. hydrocephalus can affect anyone at any time. It's it's not a autoimmune disorder. It's a condition where fluid builds up in the ventricles, and the only management for that is um, brain surgery to insert a shunt or to do a ETV where they, um, if they're able to, they put a hole in the ventricle, but even that has a large failure rate to it. So it's just that is, it's
Sounds crazy.
major.
Yeah. What? So you feel, when did you know that God was calling you into becoming an emotional trauma coach? Like when did that realization happen? All right, before we dive back in, I want to pause for just a moment and speak to the author in you. That book on your heart isn't just an idea, it's an assignment. God didn't give you that story, that message, that testimony for it to stay locked inside of you. Someone is waiting for your obedience and your words. I'm here to walk with you step by step to bring it from vision to published reality. So don't wait for the perfect time, because the time is now. Let's be obedient together. Visit the one and only publishing.com and let's write your book. Now let's get back to the conversation.
That that happened in June 2024. Um, from June 2005 until June 2024, I had various part-time jobs outside of the house. But then in June 2024, I was let go from a classroom aide position because of employer financial difficulty. And so I honestly was struggling some with, okay, Lord, what's my next step? What do you want me to do? And that's when he really started burdening my heart for helping people who are going through or have gone through emotional trauma, that they don't have to stay stuck. Like, they don't have to live in that negativity or that trauma, but they can have freedom. And even my website is based around that concept of answering the question, why does life hurt so much? Why, since God is the creator of the world and the creator of every person, what did he create evil or did he create pain? No. And I help people recognize that, yes, even though emotional trauma and pain and all of that is unavoidable, there is freedom found from the grip of that. And so from June 2024 to present and ongoing, God has just been revealing things to me that I feel like He's saying, this, I need you to get this out. And so,
Amen. I definitely, trauma exists everywhere. And I love how you said that. You said we can't avoid it, right? And God never promised a life without trials and tribulations. But what do you tell the person that is currently paralyzed with trauma and feels like they've tried it. They even turned to God, and they've gotten solace for a short term, for a short time, but it's not enough to pull them out. What would be something that you could say to them that would encourage them?
Don't give in to that negativity that you're hearing, whether it's, thoughts within your mind, or somehow verbally you're hearing all this negativity. Please do not give in to that. James 4:7 is a command. And how often is James 4:7 quoted, and yet it gets reversed? Meaning that whether or not people realize that, they're submitting to Satan. And it's not whenever someone gives into negativity, they're getting James 4:7 back. And it's a choice. And maybe people are thinking, well, you know, why do I have to do this every time that I have negativity? Well, in Luke, when Jesus had his temptations from Satan, it says in Luke 4:13, I believe it is, that at the end of the verse it says that Satan left him for a season. And that means that even when Jesus was here on earth, Satan was attacking him. And so for the person who is going through seeming attack after attack after attack and feeling like, will this ever end, or will I ever have freedom? Yes, freedom is available. It's, but it has to be a choice to reject the negativity, to reject Satan's lies, because ultimately Satan, he only knows negativity. He doesn't know anything positive. And so, and his mission, I believe, is to keep people as far away from the truth of God as possible. And don't give up. Keep resisting Satan. Keep resisting his negativity. There is freedom available, and it has to be every day. There's not a time that you can give up and say, man, I'm so tired of having to resist. But that's the only place freedom is found, in resisting every time.
Thank you. Well said, Bethany. Yeah, just for people to know what James 4:7, if you're just listening to this, it's submit yourselves then to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you.
Yes.
And you're right, it's ongoing. And man, the devil does not play fair.
No.
So you're sitting there and you're like, my goodness, I just finally got through this one hurdle that has been plaguing me for months or years. And then, boom, the devil comes again and starts attacking you again. And it's like tough. It's tough. And it's tough to look at someone and knowing that they've gone through trial after trial, and even though they have inner peace, right, because
Yes.
they've rested in the bosom of the Lord, it's still exhausting. It's just exhausting. And it brings me back to that verse. I don't know, it's in Isaiah. I think it's Isaiah, I can't remember, but where he says, I'll rest myself on something on the eagles. Do you know what I'm talking about? I don't remember the verse off the top of my head, but it's a
Yeah.
powerful verse. 45 something. But if you don't go to him and get your strength renewed, you're just going to continue to feel boggled down. So you're right. You just have to never give up and keep pushing forward. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. So, how does it work when someone wants to get coaching from you? They're tired of the place they're in. What do they have to do in order to start getting coaching from you, Bethany?
Well, they can book a connection call with me. That's a 20-minute call, free, um, on Zoom, and we'll just talk over what what their situation is and how I can help them and go from there. So
That's amazing. I'm so excited that this is something that you're doing, um, because some people would look at your situation as like you've been through so many trials and you've gone through it and you've never wavered, and yet you know what I mean, you're still standing strong. So like your life is a true testament, and it's clear as day that you love the Lord so powerfully. For those of you guys that would like to connect with Bethany, her website is created in his image.com. So created in his image, and there's dashes in between each word. And it'll also be on our show notes as well. Bethany, what would you like to tell our audience? What would be some things that you would like to say, before we hop off?
yes, um, there is freedom available in this world. Satan is going to continually attack, but the key is consistently resisting him, not never giving into his lies. And yet, if his lies are given into, recognizing that that's not the end, you can go to God and talk to God about that. He is ready and willing to help you, to free you from Satan's grip. And also, one one thing I have found very beneficial is every morning before I get up, I pray that acknowledges to God that I'm allowing Him to control,
Mm.
that I'm not leaving my mind open to Satan, because so often it seems like right away in the morning, if there's no prayer, it seems like when Satan says, okay, well, they didn't pray, and so I'm going to come in and, fill in where God should be. And so when that happens, doesn't it seem like your day is even off to a bad start?
Yeah.
And so I find that one major key is before even getting up, that you pray and you thank God for his protection. You thank God for restraining Satan, not just over your life, but over your friends and family's lives. Because that does work when prayer to restrain Satan.
Amen. Thank you for sharing that,
Yes,
Bethany. I agree. It does work.
yes,
And it's interesting how the enemy, if he can't get you, he'll try to get the ones closest to you, so
yes,
that prayer of protection on your family as well as yourself, as on your friends, on your loved ones, is extremely important so that all is protected. And I do agree with you. I don't put my feet on the ground in the mornings until I've prayed to the Lord, and it does make a big difference. So thank you for sharing that, Bethany. Man, thank you so much for being a guest on Called and Courageous. It was such a joy getting to know you. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with us. And I pray that everyone that's listening has been blessed by this and their hearts have been open to hear it. Please, please, please always remember that obedience is the true measure of success, and your life is proof. Thank you.